Are you thinking about investing in an accessory dwelling unit or ADU in Kennebunk, Maine? Did you know that most of the towns and cities in Maine have placed additional restrictions around having an ADU in their community? In this video, we're going to talk about Kennebunk's ADU rules that we must adhere to in order to have an ADU in their community. Let's get after it. First of all, you need to read the accessory dwelling unit rules that are specific to the town of Kennebunk. You can get this information by contacting the town of Kennebunk or by emailing us. The very first thing you need to do before getting too excited about investing in an ADU is to make sure that the single-family residence you are working with is in a zone that allows for ADUs. Not all single-family residences can have an ADU added to them. So find the zoning map for the town of Kennebunk and verify that the residence is in an allowable zone. Oh, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Michael Patterson and my partner and daughter is Margaret. We are local ADU dealers here in Southern Maine and can provide you with designs and prices that will help you start planning your ADU investment. If you have questions about ADUs in a specific town, we can help with that as well. Our contact information is down below. Here are a few of the rules that are specific to ADUs being allowed in Kennebunk. First, either the primary or converted unit shall be occupied by the owner of the property as its primary physical residence, and that means for more than 6 months of the year. Second, both the primary and the accessory dwelling unit shall be occupied as primary residences. Third, no more than one accessory dwelling unit is permitted per single family lot. Fourth, the area of the accessory dwelling unit shall be a minimum of 190 square feet and a maximum of 1,000 square feet. Fifth, if the property is located in the Shoreland Overlay District, the accessory dwelling unit must separately meet all applicable space and bulk requirements. 6, accessory dwelling units shall not be used as short-term rentals. Oh, and keep in mind, guys, that these rules change, which means this video could be out of date. So always check with the town of Kennebunk or us before moving ahead with your plans. Besides, it's very important that you share your ADU plans with the town of Kennebunk code enforcement before you start spending money on the site work. You absolutely have to have a permit to set up an ADU, and if you're not familiar with the process in Kennebunk, as I said earlier, we can help you with that. If you plan to tie your ADU's wastewater into your existing septic system, you may need a DEP permit. Make sure you know the size of your septic tank because it may not be large enough for additional bedrooms. Now, if it isn't big enough, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't have an ADU, but it does mean additional work and possibly more money to make the project happen. So if you are setting up your ADU all by yourself and you don't have municipal sewer services, be sure to ask about getting the septic system approved. Guys, if you're finding this video informative, please consider giving it a like. It really helps a lot. Thank you. Once you have secured that you will be able to make your ADU comply with all state laws and the town of Kennebunk requirements, it is time to select an ADU. And this also requires some homework. For those of you thinking that you'll just use the RV as an ADU, well, you might be able to do that if the RV complies with LD 1981. First, the American National Standards Institute ANSI standard A119.5 on plumbing, propane, fire and life safety, and construction, or the National Protection Association NFPA standard 1192 on plumbing, propane, and fire and life safety for recreational vehicles. Second, the unit cannot exceed 400 square feet in size. Third, the unit cannot exceed any dimension allowed for operation on a public way under this title. And fourth, the vehicle must be without motive power. To find out if your RV is in compliance, look for a sticker on the RV like this. You'll notice right here it says A119.5. And if you don't find this sticker on the RV, try reaching out to the manufacturer. I want to take a moment and let you know that if you'd like to learn everything about ADUs in the different towns in southern Maine, click subscribe and tap the bell so that you'll be the first to know when we post another video. You primarily have three options for an ADU on your property. First, you can stick build the ADU, which means you or a contractor buys the lumber, the windows, siding, and all the other materials and builds the ADU from a set of plans. And this is a good option if you can't find a floor plan or a roof design that you want on the market. The second option is going with a modular ADU that is delivered to your property. Now, modular units are essentially stick-built as well, but with some customization options. It still needs a foundation though, which is a considerable expense. And the third option, which is my favorite, is a tiny home ADU that is ANSI or NFPA compliant, that is on wheels. The reason why I like tiny homes on wheels is because they can be moved should you choose to get rid of your tiny home at some point or take it to another property. And they're also stick-built, which means they're well made. In other words, you can sell it and have it towed away. Having the ADU towed away, if it is stick-built or modular, is generally cost prohibitive. If you want to consider an ADU that is delivered on wheels, Margaret and I can provide you with lots of tastefully designed tiny homes and modular ADUs. Also, if you have questions that I'm not covering about ADUs in Maine, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or our favorite, schedule a Zoom. We'll do our best to answer your questions or investigate it for you. Okay, I want to bust some myths about ADU ownership. First is that they will increase your property value. The truth is that sometimes they can increase your property value considerably, but not always. Adding more livable space on your property is usually great for property values. But if the ADU isn't added properly, it could be an eyesore in the neighborhood. This is another reason to invest in an ADU that looks classy but can easily be towed away. Second, you can buy a property in a town and add the ADU and rent out both. Well, if you're adding an ADU to increase the rental value of the property, keep in mind that many towns require that you personally live in the primary dwelling unit. And I mentioned Kennebunk definitely requires that. Third, you can buy any single family residence and put an ADU next to it. Remember guys, ADUs are not allowed in all zones. We have to check with the municipality first and then make sure it will fit on the property properly. Margaret or I can handle that for you. Fourth, you can only add one ADU to your property. The truth is that some towns, maybe not Kennebunk, but other towns like Sanford, allow for an ADU attached as well as one separate from the property. But remember, rules are often specific to the town, so make sure you find out. Fifth, you can make a mobile home an ADU. And of course, at this point, you should know that the answer to this is maybe. Look for that sticker. Before you get too excited about something you found on Facebook, get the square footage of the unit, pictures of any stickers, find out the number of rooms that it has, and depending on the town, the ADU may not be able to exceed a certain percentage in size of the primary residence. Okay, I hope that I have answered some of your questions, and if not, remember our contact information is down below in the descriptions. And if you want to learn more about living in southern Maine, watch this next video.